This week we are going to create a drawing of an elephant inspired by Henri Rousseau. And Henri Rousseau was a French painter who lived from 1844 to 1910. He did exactly 123 artworks. And what makes him especially special is Henri Rousseau taught himself how to do art. He had no training whatsoever, no help or anything. He just sat down and practiced and taught himself how to draw and how to paint. Well, most of his paintings were of jungle plant life. And what's strange about that is he had never went to the jungle. His plants were house plants. That's the only plants that he saw besides one time when he went to a small botanical garden. And he got to see those plants, which he still knew were nowhere in comparison to the size of jungle plant life. He knew that jungle plant life was much, much larger than the botanical garden or just his house plants. He just absolutely knew that the jungle plants were way bigger than house plants and the botanical garden plants. So we're going to stick with our 9-week segment of animals and insects. Last week we did hippo. This week we are going to do an elephant. And our elephant is going to be our focal point. And then we can still tie in our plant life and all that goes with Henri Rousseau. So this is just one that we had done previously in the past. And these are just our vocabulary words because we're going to be using those throughout this lesson. So what we're going to do first is using shapes. We're going to start our elephant. So for his eyes, you need 2 oval shapes. One and then one beside the other. Leave a little space in there. Then you need 2 more oval shapes in the center. And then we're going to add a little circle on top of that oval just to give his eyes something like make it look like they have some highlights. Now, we're going to make a circle, but we're going to leave just a small break in the circle. So we're going to start and go around all the way around. And stop so that we can bring a trunk down and through that little gap that we left, the space that is open. So then we're going to just down under the eyes, start with a line, curve it around, bring it down right at that spot where you stopped that side of that circle. Kind of curve it back around in front of him and then draw an oval on top of that. Then you're going to take a line back up, curve it so that it touches where that gap is at, and bring it around under that eye. And it's going to be curved over his tusk, because elephants have those white ivory tusks. Then we're just going to draw a line, and then kind of like almost like a U shape that comes kind of more to a point. And that's his little baby tusk. Now, next we are going to give him his ears, his big floppy ears, because there are two different kinds of elephants. There are African elephants and there's Asian elephants. They are the largest land animals. They have the most unique look about them of any other animal. They have a very long trunk, which makes them unique, which means it makes them different from other animals. And these large floppy ears, that makes them different from other animals, which we are fixing to draw, these floppy ears. There's no other animal really similar to an elephant. And an elephant can do many things with their trunks. They can pick up stuff. They can spray themselves off. They can also drink with it. They can just do many, many things. So with our ears, we're going to come up and out, around, curve it around and down, kind of curve it in towards his circular face. And then you're going to kind of follow that line on the inside. Go in just a little. Going to follow that line to show the inside of his ears. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side, only the opposite way. So you're going to come up from his head, around, back down and in, out and around, and then curve it back up to his head. And do that same exact shape on the inside for the inside of his ear. So far we have our circles and our ovals for our shapes. Now we're going to add his body, which is kind of circular too, but not completely a circle. And we're going to do some overlapping. So say these plants are already drawn here. We're going to have to go in between them and finish, pretend like our lines there. So if you're continuing to draw in pencil, you could keep on going around like so. And then his foot would be there. Then you'd have to go back and erase. Once you drew the flowers in. So we're going to draw his foot. With his little toe. And we're going to continue to bring that elephant's body shape on around. Add his foot in there. And elephants have really large, thick legs. And they have 3 big, huge toenails on each one. And we're going to continue with that circular-like shape for his body. Now we're going to start adding in our plant life using different shapes of lines. Different types of lines. So first, we're going to start with kind of a curved line. We don't want it completely straight because it's going to be a stem that some petals, or not petals, leaves are going to be coming off of. And you're just going to repeat this shape, which is repetition. Repeat this shape over and over again, coming off of this stem. You're going to do over and over again. So it's just up to a point and down, up to a point and down, up to a point and down, up to a point and down. And then here, our petals, our leaves, you cannot see the stem that they're attached to. So we're just going to do that repetition shape over and over again. So up, then down, up, then down, up, and then down. And then up and down again. And on this side, we're going to do the same thing, kind of a curved line for that stem. And another curved line for this stem. And then do our repetition again. Up to a point and down. Up to a point and then down. And here, we're going to have some overlapping again. This time, our elephant's going to be in front of the leaf. Up to a point and back down. Up to a point and back down. Just over and over again. And to continue with our lines, just to add some more detail to our paper, we're just going to do, for some design, some straight lines. And in between each one, we're going to color whatever color we want inside of there. And then come to another spot on our paper, the opposite side of the elephant, and do some more straight lines. And we're just going to start at the elephant and go straight off the paper with straight lines. And here's where this is going to be some plant life, where the plant life is really in the jungle. It's kind of just those jagged leaves using zigzag lines. So there's your zigzag plant. And then we're going to add a vine in here. And vines are very relatable to the jungle, because if you've ever watched that cartoon, George of the Jungle, he swings all on those vines, and monkeys swing on vines, and all kinds of animals swing on vines. Vines are very useful in the jungle. So we're going to add in some vines. We're going to add some leaves or petals, whichever one you want to, leaves or flower, bud type things, to our vine, whichever one you want to call them. And to continue with our lines, we are going to curved line, making like a half circle on that paper. and then just curve some lines out and bring them back down towards the circle. Put some curved lines in there for detail. And these are the petals on our flower. So curved lines in there. Just keep curving lines all the way around this flower up to a point curved out on each side and back down. Now we have our drawing of our elephant. Now we can color him. If you do not have a gray, you can use a black, but you need to color very softly with it, kind of like this, so that the white shows through, which means you don't bear down and put pressure on it. But if you have a gray, you can just color naturally. Color his little foot in there that we stuck in there. And color his head. Trunk and all. Except for those tusks, we're going to leave those white. So we need to go around those. And we're going to leave the insides of his eyes white. The part that we did not color black. And then just the outsides of the ears need to be gray. We're going to come in the inside of his ears with pink. And if you don't have pink, you could do the same thing with the pink, with red for pink, as I showed you to do with black. Just do it very lightly, so that a lot of white shows through. And it looks like a very, very, very light red, which is kind of like a pink. Now, I am going to color my little straight lines that we use just for some design. And I'm also we are going to use two different colors of green here for our stems and leaves to show you the contrast in the two different colors. One is very light, and this one is has a darker contrast, but they both have the principles to be green in elements. This is also where we just done a repetition, repeating these same shapes over and over again. And I see where we missed a spot. Coloring that elephant. He forgot his leg. Now we're going to finish these keys up real fast is what we're going to do. Now we're going to color our vine. Our curvy vine. Where I find the crayon. And those leaves or flower buds, whichever you chose to call them, you can choose whatever colors you want to color those, and you can also add as many as you want to. Now for this one, this plant life, I'm going to use this lighter shade of green up here to add more to contrast with those two greens at the bottom. And this flower, we're going to use two different colors of orange right here if you are able to tell. This is just a regular orange. No, I'm sorry. Yep, it's a regular orange. This one is a red orange. Just want to make the center darker. And then teal for our actual flower. And you can choose whatever colors you want for your flowers. It does not matter for all of your flowers if you have the material to color it with all together. Now, if you don't, that's understandable. And as usual, it doesn't matter what size paper it's on or anything, what kind of paper, because your materials, really all you need is paper, pencil, and coloring materials, markers, coloring pencils, pens, crayons, whatever you have available to you. And this is our elephant relating to Henri Rousseau for week 5 with our 9-week segment of plants and animals and insects. Have a good week.